Well, we love featuring artists you should know about on the show, and today we're heading to Georgia to chat with singer-songwriter Steve Coughlin. Steve's based out of Hartwell, Georgia. He's a BMI recording artist backed by his band called Probable Cause. His debut album, Out of the Cold, came out in 2011, and he's been back in the studio working on a new one, and he just released a brand new single called Going Home. We're excited to have Steve Coughlin on the show. First, Steve, thanks so much for coming on.
You're welcome, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Well, boy, you've got a crazy story, Steve. You started out as a police officer. Where was this at?
I started out in North Carolina, and then I went to Long Beach, and I worked my way up through uniforms and became a detective, and then I was a homicide detective.
Wow. And then did you spend your 20 years and retired from the force?
I spent over 20 years, and retired. And then after I retired, I came back to Georgia and then moved to Nashville.
Yeah, you moved to Nashville to chase your dream. So were you doing music while you were a police officer, or what?
Well, I didn't really start playing the guitar till I was in my early 40s. I said, I need to learn how to play this thing. I played a little bit of piano. So I spent about 8 years every night, 3 or 4 hours a night, teaching myself to play.
Holy cow. You were motivated.
Yeah, I rode around in a police car all those years listening to music, and always had a little band when I was in high school. I was a singer, and always wanted to get into it. And I said, this is the perfect time. Now I can do what I want to do.
Well, people listening, it's never too late to chase your dream. That's for sure.
That is for sure, yeah.
I mean,
and then I moved to Nashville and I met the right people, I guess you'd say. I was blessed.
Yeah, you moved to Nashville. How long were you in Nashville?
I was there about 2 years, a year or something. But when I had first moved there, where I lived was on Johnny Cash Parkway, Gallatin Road, right out. And I met a fellow that lived in the condos that I lived in. His name was Cheryl Millette. And Cheryl was Songwriter of the Year, Song of the Year. He was Waylon Jennings' guitar player for 40-something years.
Oh, wow.
And he kind of mentored me and got me really meeting the right people and started writing music then.
Huh. So after your time in Nashville, you want to get out of there. How did you find Hartwell, Georgia?
Well, my mother was from here, and they were both the elderly. They passed on since then. And I moved up here and bought a place up here and just started doing it. And in fact, Cheryl told me one day, he says, Steve, you don't have to live in Nashville to do what you do, getting started out. I met the right people, Sammy Kershaw, Lori Morgan, worked with Billy Carrington. He was driving a concrete truck like I was in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
I was just blessed to meet the right people.
Huh, yeah. It's about who you know, not your talent a lot of times.
A lot of it is. It's connections, yeah. That's exactly right.
Because Hartwell, Georgia, there's like 4,500 people there. Are you next to some mountains, or where are you at?
We're at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, wow.
And it's a lake town, and it's one of the most beautiful places you can see. It looks like something if you picked a small southern town with a lot of culture. And I've never met so many talented people in my life that live in the county that I live in.
Huh, amazing. Yeah, when I looked it up, it said April and May are the prime times for Hartwell. So you said the peaches are growing, so it's perfect right now.
It's perfect, yeah. And we're about an hour from Atlanta, and we're right here on the lake in Lake Hartwell, where Clemson University is. I'm only 12 miles from the state line of South Carolina. We're up in the corner between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, where they meet at the foot of the mountains.
Oh, that sounds like an awesome spot.
It is. It's great.
So Probable Cause, your band. Well, first, tell us the story behind the name, Steve, because this is funny.
Yeah, when I was recording the first album, the second album, Winds of Home, that was our second album, and I was coming back from the studio late at night and just got stopped several times by a sheriff's deputy. Same guy. I guess he was just fishing. And I asked him one night, I said, do you have probable cause to stop me? He said, what are you, a lawyer? I said, no, I'm a retired police officer. And we became friends. I talked to him every time I go through town after that. And then when I got back, I was telling the band about it, and we all decided I'm going to name my band Probable Cause. Now I have Probable Cause.
Yeah, now you do have Probable Cause all the time with you. That's hilarious. Well, has it been the same band? Are they from around there? Where's everybody from?
Well, I've gone through a lot of musicians. Cheryl told me, pick your band carefully and be happy because you're like a family. And it took me about 12 years, but the ones I have now, we are like family. We work together well. I write and I write everything for all the band. Everything we do is original. This is our third album coming out. And when I bring it to the band and we do the arrangements, but my keyboard player is originally from Wisconsin. My drummer is a female, Allison Murillo, and she is from Florida originally, but raised in Georgia. And like I said, Larry Frederick's my keyboard player for Wisconsin. My bass player is from New Jersey, Scott Calloway. And the only one that's from around here is Mickey Davenport. He plays lead guitar. And then Aubrey Davenport, which is about 15 miles away from Elberton, Georgia. And he is just a phenomenal guitar player himself. Aubrey Barton.
Wow. Yeah, and everyone, I mean, because Mickey looks like he's a younger guy. I mean, you got all kinds of ages, all kinds of backgrounds, everybody in the band.
Yeah. Mickey's Mickey's in his 50s, so he's probably the youngest. Everybody else is, I guess we're not really senior citizens. I don't consider myself. We just started a little bit later.
Yeah.
But they're just wonderful folks, and they're all seasoned musicians, and they're great at what they do. They make me look a lot better than I am. So, and I'm blessed to have them.
That's a good thing. Go check Steve out. He's at SteveCoughlinmusic.com. He's on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. His latest single, Going Home, is out now, and you're going to hear it here in a few minutes. Well, you were nominated for some International Singer-Songwriters Association awards. I'm shocked you didn't make it to the finals.
Well, I was just so happy to be nominated. This was our third year. The first year we had 4 nominations. The second year 5, and then this year I think we had 5 off of different albums for Song of the Year or Artist of the Year. But the ones that did make it, I'd always tell people, I've gotten a lot further than I ever thought I would. But my main goal in all of this is just when we play, I don't want you to walk away from a show saying, gee, they were great. I just want you to say I enjoyed that. That was good music. Because we don't do covers, we do all original. And I'm an Americana artist. I from rhythm and blues to rock and roll to country. I have 2 on debuting on country music radio now, and I've got like 6 on the radio in all parts of the country. So, and they're from City Man was our first one. It's kind of a rhythm and blues, and I got a friend of mine from. He's a Grammy nominee. Also, Randall Bramlin on the saxophone on that, and Davis Calsey on guitar, and he's the one who produced it. And that was the one I started with when I was with Tate Arista Records. So,
wow. Well, yeah, because Out of the Cold, I mean, Winds of Home, they're all, when you listen to them, yeah, you're all over the place. So there's a little bit of something for everyone on all of it. So. I can only imagine what's coming. You were just in the studio in Nashville. So the new album, is it called Just Whisper?
Just Whisper, yep. And what we did was on this one, we released through Caden Gordon Promotions, we released, I put a spiritual on the song. I'm on the piano. It's called Going Home. And it has done very well. In some places, it's number 5 in Australia. It's doing well in Europe. And I'm excited about it being released here. And I've already been requested to play several funerals, and it's a very spiritual song. But Just Whisper is the new album. We'll have about 6, 7 on the new album.
Okay, yeah. So be looking for it because he was just in Nashville recording at Gray Fox Studios, and you're going to hear the new single "Going Home" here in a minute. It's crazy because being an indie artist, you never know who's going to enjoy your music. You mentioned Australia, you're on the charts there. Most of your songs have been huge overseas. Yeah,
I'm kind of like the old Slim Whitman, he dominated overseas. But, the American music, when I was a fan of the old classic rock and roll and the old country. Well, Nashville's changed a lot. I think it's more Americana now than it is country and maybe pop country. You don't see Mo Pickney, I think he's one of the few that does the old country. But music just changes every day, you know.
Oh,
so when you come to our shows, you'll get a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of rhythm and blues, a little bit of Americana, folksy, and then in country.
Yeah, because this album, I heard where you said you thought it was going to come out in March. Is it just taking longer, or what's going on?
Well, we didn't want to hurry it, and we were very choosy about studios and getting this, and we just taken our time, and we wanted to get it right, so we wouldn't have to come back. But you always do that once you release an album. You always go, "Gee, I wish I'd have done this, or wish I'd have done that."
Yeah, well, and it's a singles world now, so what you're doing is probably better. Release one track at a time or a couple tracks, and then throw the EP out at everyone.
Right, just to get a feel for it, yeah. And we'll be back in the studio in 3 weeks to finish up, and then it'll be released sometime at the end of June.
Okay, so it's coming here sooner than later. Just Whisper, Steve Coughlin. Go check him out, stevecoughlinmusic.com. Well, I mean, how long have you been working with Caden to help promote your music?
For about a year and so now. We hooked up with him, and it's been good. Caden gets it out there, and that's the big thing. You know, like I said, we want people to come to our shows and say, "I enjoyed that. It was different music." We're not a bar, like I said, we're not a bar band. We don't play covers at all. Now, I do have the sheriff here as a friend of mine in the county, and he sings like Elvis Presley, so we bring him up on stage if we do something local. We do a couple of songs together. You want to keep the sheriff's department close to you.
Exactly. You know, keep the cops in your back pocket. That's good for the band. Because
he's a fantastic singer.
Yeah. When are we playing next? Do we have any live gigs coming?
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to get this album finished. And there's a thing for an animal rescue here at a place called the Yacht Club. It's on the lake, and we're going to do a big show there. And I think we're going to do one at the Fine Arts Center here for a video, and we're going to release nationwide. But we're just kind of waiting just to see how get this album done, and then we'll concentrate on the late summer and fall and all, get ready to start playing again.
Yeah, because who are you working with at Gray Fox Studios?
My producer there is a guy by the name, he's from Canada, and a fantastic guitar player. In fact, he played the lead guitar on City Man, my first release on the radio, and his name is Gaetan Roux.
Okay.
And he's the one that's heading up all that in Nashville.
So you've been working with him for a while, because City Man came out a few years ago.
Yeah, I've been knowing Gaetan for over 20 years,
wow.
He's just one of these kind of guys that he picks up the guitar and it's like he was born with it in his hands.
Man, well that's good. That's nice.
And I wanted to tell you, when I was in high school, I was a disc jockey.
Oh, really?
Local radio station. Yeah, and
yeah, you got a good voice.
That was when you had to take the old 8 tracks and turn them upside down for commercials and start over again, and you had to read the weather off the teletype machine.
Oh yeah, yeah, and when the news was happening, you'd hear the machine printing it out in the back.
Oh yeah, in the back. Yeah,
the old carts. That was back in the good old days.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not young by any means, but yeah, back when I was in high school, I worked at the local radio station. Yeah, it was same way. Carts and records and CDs. Now it's all digital. Now it's a lot easier to be a DJ.
Oh yeah, well that's like the studio. It used to be when you went into the studio, you had to do a lot of retakes and all. Now they just pull stuff in and out electronically, and it's and studios do it different. On our first 2 albums, we did it individually in booths. Now we do it everybody together, and they just move all the equipment out to another soundproof room, and it's done a little bit different now. It's a little bit quicker.
Huh.
But I miss the old way, and I miss the old vinyls.
Well, yeah. Yeah. It's have you been out west? Have you been out here to Wyoming?
Oh yeah, I've been. I was Navy. I've been all through. I remember the last time I went out there, I flew into San Diego and drove the Pacific Coast Highway all the way up to Oregon. But I've been most of the states out there and all, like Wyoming and all them, and they're pretty. it's pretty far in between things.
Oh, yeah. A lot of open
South,
space.
everything's kind of stuck together, and it's out there. It's I went through Texas one night, and I stopped at a little laundromat going across Texas about 2 a.m, and right there on the Frio River, down there where George Strait's place is at, and I just couldn't believe how much land was out there in between stops.
Yeah, it's the same way in Wyoming. You might not see anything for a couple hours, and you're like, "Where the hell am I?" But yeah, because how far are you from Nashville?
I'm about. It takes me about 5.5, 6 hours.
Okay, so you're still a haul, but an hour from Atlanta, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Huh? What does your wife think about this?
Well, she's always been supportive. She's my main support, and she used to, if I play somewhere, she'd go, but now she stays home and keeps the fires burning. She just support. In fact, she was the one that set the computers up this morning and all, because I have a hard time even using my phone. So they don't let me touch anything in the studio. Anything, they just tell me where to go and stand and play and sing.
Yeah, play the guitar, sing the song, Steve, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Go check him out, SteveCoughlinmusic.com. He's Steve Coughlin with Probable Cause. Go and follow him on Facebook. The new album is coming, Just Whisper, here hopefully before the end of June or so. Well, you talked a little bit about Going Home. Tell us about the song before we play it, Steve.
The song was a spiritual song, and what it is, being a Navy veteran and coming from a military family, and my sons are, I've got one son, stepson, retired Navy chief. I got a stepson, retired Navy Air Force. I've got a son, retired Navy chief. It just meant a lot to me, and I wrote it probably in about 20 minutes, and I play the piano on that one, but it's about a soldier who goes into battle, and he doesn't realize he's passed away until he sees the angel. And the song is he's really talking to his wife, because the last verse, you have to listen to it. He's telling her, hey, everything's going to be all right. I'm going home.
Yeah. Going home. So it was you that was playing the piano. I was going to say, was Larry playing the piano, or this is you?
No, Larry, on the album, Larry plays the keyboard, the organ behind it, to kind of fill in.
Okay.
But I'm the one playing the original piano on it. And I play it live like that, too.
Wow. So did you play the piano before the guitar?
Oh yeah, I've been playing the piano since I was about 10 years old. But I don't. I can read music, but I don't read music. I play everything by ear, and I write everything that I play. So.
Huh. Interesting. Well, go and check him out. Here is the latest single. It's called Going Home. Steve Coughlin. Steve, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jeff, and thanks for having me, and hope everybody enjoys our new album.
Here's Steve Coughlin, Probable Cause. It's Going Home. It's KIX 96.5.